Oh, hi. I'm just playing some Zelda and enjoying a bag of crisps. That's not a crisp. Wait, I wonder if... No. 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 Still no. Wait. So, we put it in, and... This is the DSi, or the DSi XL to be precise. This was the last DS before the 3DS line, and today we will see what it's like in 2021, 13 years after it was first released. The DSi started development in late 2006, shortly after the DS Lite. Basically what they did was they looked at the DSi, gave it cameras that weren't the best, an SD card slot and a Wii menu. Boom! New handheld! To be honest, in 2008 you could see the novelty of cameras on your handheld. You could play Mario Kart DS, then take low-res photos of your face in the same sitting. You wouldn't even need to get the old mini DV out. The DSi was revealed in a Nintendo conference in the autumn of 2008 and started selling the following month in Japan. The rest of the world had to wait until April of 2009 though. The XL model was available about a year later, and it was, as the name implied, an XL version of the DSi. Unlike the XL variant of the 3DS, which has a vastly different design to the regular, the DSi XL is literally a DSi with bigger screens, a bigger battery, and a glossy finish. But enough about the hardware, let's get into what really matters. Here we have the DSi menu, a menu that takes a lot of inspiration from the Wii menu. It's a big step up from the grid and clock of the DS and DS Lite, as it needs more space for downloadable content, which we'll get to later. Let's go over all the apps from left to right. Here we have the Cartridge App. It's no big deal when you don't have a cartridge in it, but when you do, oh my. I was really just trying to advertise a placeholder app for whatever game you're putting in, wasn't I? It followed in the footsteps of the Wii, but dropping disc spinning animation for obvious reasons. Next we have the DSi camera, where you can take pictures and add cool effects to it, sort of like a 2008 Snapchat. You could also save these to an SD card, so you can now look at your blurry pictures on the big screen. I have a few pictures saved on here, and they are, well, not the best. Alright, the next one is the Dsi Shop. This was like the Wii Shop channel on DS. You could purchase these games called DSiWare, content that you could only purchase digitally from the shop. I often found it weird that you couldn't get DS titles such as New Super Mario Bros. Or Animal Crossing Wild World from the store, as it would have been quite attractive to people looking for a digital-only experience. And ever since 2016 though, the Dsi Shop has been closed. I mean, it still works quite well as a music player. Next up is Dsi Sound. You can record your own audio on here or take credit for something you didn't do. I actually have some recordings from here from 2016, and I seriously didn't know what I was thinking. You can add effects, reverse the clip, change the pitch. You didn't need that £200 audio software anymore. You can also use it as an audio player, as shown here. You can also add the same effects here as shown before, which is nice. Next we have the good old Flipnote Chat, something that was also in the model as prior. It was sort of a chat room for the DS, although you could only talk to people on the same Wi-Fi connection as you. Now, you may be asking, Dari, why would you need a chat room when they're literally in the same building as you? And my answer to that is, it's Nintendo, they wouldn't make a social networking site. Oh. Actually, Flipnote Chat could be quite helpful by yourself, drawing pictures and that, but why would you need that on the DSi when you have Flipnote Studio, a free piece of software from the Dsi Shop? It technically isn't one of the built-in apps on the DSi, but it did come pre-installed on XL models like the one I have here, so I'll let it slide. Plus, Flipnote is hands down the best feature of the DSi. Yeah, even better than 2008 Snapchat and Annoying Bird. Flipnote allows you to draw your own electronic flipbooks, sort of like Flip-a-Clip, then save them to your SD card and do whatever with them on your PC. Or you could upload it to Flipnote Hatena, which was basically YouTube for the DSi. They wouldn't make a social networking site. I never got to use the service because it was shut down in 2013, and in 2013, I didn't know what the heck a Flipnote Hatena was. Anyway, next up is DS Download Play. This was a service for all DS and 3DS models, and it's a pretty cool feature. Basically, you can play multiplayer games with other DS owners, but only one has to have the cartridge. The others just go on to download play, connect via wireless communication, providing they're in range, and boom, you're playing Mario Kart with your friends. And believe it or not, it actually still works. In the past, you could also connect with the Nintendo channel on the Wii to download demos of games using download play. Sadly, this service was discontinued along with the rest of Wii to Connect 24, but you can hack your Wii to make this usable again, as shown in the clip. Next up, settings. Here's when you can customize and manage your DSi. It got a facelift since the DS version, and it now kind of looks like the Wii menu. I'm picking up a bit of a trend here. It was given support for advanced connections, i.e. a connection that wasn't ancient for 2008. These connections only worked for DSi applications though, not Nintendo WFC. But wait, I haven't talked about the games yet. You would expect me to talk about DS games, but this is the DSi. Now, it is true that the DSi is basically a hardware and software revision of the DS, but that doesn't mean it had 6 games released especially for it. Now, these games weren't that special, but they did have cartridge releases with this cool little DSi box art, which looks pretty similar to the 3DS packaging. Unfortunately, I don't have any of these games because I have standards for my collection. Standards. What I can do, however, is use the power of the internet to see what they're all about. Only 3 out of 6 were released here in Europe, which includes Face Training, Hidden Photo, and Picture Perfect Hair Salon. We had Brain Training, Maths Training, and now we have Face Training. It's a sort of face exercise thing from what I've seen. It didn't get the best reviews, and something that I definitely wouldn't buy an entire DSi for. Next, we have Hidden Photo. Now I can find even less about this one, apart from the company's description itself, and they basically describe it as some sort of a puzzle game with your photos. Again, not really what I'd buy a DSi for. And finally, we have Picture Perfect Hair Salon, which is literally a game where you take photos of yourself to customize your hairstyle. I'm kind of getting the gist. These games aren't that good, and they're really all just a bunch of gimmicky shovelware that probably took like 20 minutes to code. Don't worry though, you can play all of your DS games now on a much more generous screen. So, in conclusion, I think the DSi is a pretty solid system with pretty solid features. It might be a good choice nowadays if you only really care about DS games, as it dropped the Game Boy Advance slot and can't play 3DS games like its successor, but the DS games it can play look real nice on this system. However, it's a shame that the shop channel and other exclusive features of the DSi no longer work. What do you think about the DSi? Let me know in the comments, or send me an angry email about how, I don't know, the Tiger Gamecom is the best system, and anybody who thinks otherwise should be burnt to the stake. If I were to give this a rating, I'd give it an 8 out of 10. But I don't do rating systems because they're too much of a pain. Well, if you excuse me, I'm going to make a cup of tea. Oh, wait. Got a new email. Dear That Dari B, I heard you did a video on the DSi. How dare you! Your opinions are nowhere near up to scuff. How on earth do you consider that joke of a console even worthy to do a video on? There will only be one console worthy of doing a video on, and that is the Tiger Electronics Gamecom. You are a disgrace to this country, and I guess there's nothing better for me to do than come over here and deal with you myself. Wait a minute while I go board up my windows.